Hello my beautiful people, welcome to the next in the weekly generals with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I absolutely love you for it. So with that said, a couple of announcements. I recently did a talk with the Kelly Rosano of YouTube, which was absolutely awesome. I loved it and I love her. I had a really great time. So head over to her channel if you want to watch the replay. It was about the Libra full moon. It's got information on there about the Taurus new moon as well, and other bits and bobs as well. Also, I am doing a tarot, where tarot and astrology meet series, a whole series on how the major arcana reflects the zodiac and how you can find all of that stuff in there with Astrology with Heather. She is an absolute dynamo when it comes to astrology. She's super knowledgeable, she's so much fun, and she really is one of the sweetest people I've ever met. So if you want to see the first one, you can check that out. There's a link in the description box below. Next week's one is going to be on her channel. We're going to alternate, so if you want to see all of this series, you're going to have to subscribe to her channel as well. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to, or us, should I say us, on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So bit of an odd one. When I went into my intuition this week, what I actually saw was, this is going to be really badly drawn, by the way. So there you go. What I actually saw was, let's give it a little bit of, believe it or not, that is a sombrero. I'm so sorry to anybody, you know, when you're watching this and you're like, no, it's not, Raf. That's what it's supposed to be. And I'm not familiar with this symbol. It's one that I actually had to look up because I was kind of like a bit out of a loss as to what it was that I was seeing, where it was coming from. So when I delved into it, the symbolism around this, it's about your attitude and your personal outlook, which I found really interesting because it talks about having a positive outlook and feeling like life is actually, you know, going in a good direction and all of the rest of it. And the other part of it, like on the sort of shadow side of it, let's say, it was that, you know, your attitude might be deemed inappropriate by others. I find that as a really interesting motif because at the moment, right, we've got this crazy, unprecedented times that we're all living through. None of us could have ever expected what we're going through or what we're dealing with at this moment in time. And you know, what I've been urging people to do, and what I think many, you know, light workers and healers and mystics, psychics, seers, all the rest of it, astrologers even, we've been trying to get people to find the light, right? To find the lighter side of life, to laugh at things, to find joy, meaning and balance and harmony. There's that Libra full moon in full swing there. In your life, right? And to present those things and to offer those things not only to yourself but also to the world and everybody that you come into contact with. So it was really interesting to see this as a symbol, and you know, when I looked it up and what I found about it, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I really understood where it was coming from. Right now, you could, you know, it could be really easy to go into that mindset of, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't be laughing right now, maybe I shouldn't be smiling. No, this is the perfect time to find laughter, joy, meaning, happiness in your life, and to spread those things across the world and to offer them to everybody that you maybe not necessarily physically come into contact with, but whether it's people online, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on Skype, whether it's in the comments section on this video, you know, you should be striving to bring as much of that and have a positive outlook in your life. You should really be striving for this, to find the joy and the meaning and the happiness in these times, and also strive to find the light in the dark, right? One candle, just a tiny little tea light, which is one of the reasons that I always keep one tiny little tea light candle is enough to dispel the darkness. No matter how much of it there is, all it takes is one small light to bring, you know, sight and illumination to everything that it touches. So with that said, let's have a look-see at the week ahead. So for our destiny card for the weekly general, this week we get the Hanged Man, right? So this is all about surrender. This is about, and it's really interesting. If you haven't seen either of the talks that I mentioned, please go and watch them because they are so relevant right now. Your destiny card for the week ahead is the Hanged Man, right? And what this is talking about is that ability to surrender, but also to find your true spiritual essence, to find that part of you that really speaks up and really speaks out. This is a time for reassessment, re-evaluation. It's we're saying all of these words, you're probably thinking like, hang on a sec, we're not under a retrograde. No, we're not. But this card is one of reassessment, of reevaluation. It's a card of looking at things and really taking a time just to not judge them, not to think about them in any other way, but just to see them exactly as they are and say, right, okay, now that I understand exactly the way that things are, I can accept that. And one of the things with the Hanged Man, as I always used to say, those of you that have been with me long enough know that this is one thing that I've always said about the Hanged Man. It kind of speaks to the process of enlightenment, right? When you can surrender to something and accept, right? That's a big tag word for this card. Just accept the way that things are, right? That's the whole process, is where you truly come into your power, where you're able to just say, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Once you can accept something, you start to understand the situation or the meaning behind the events that are taking place or the experience that you're having. Once you start that and once you have that experience, you gain that wisdom, and once you apply that wisdom, you then become enlightened in some way, shape or form. Now, this doesn't say that everybody suddenly is going to be sitting on lotus leaves and levitating in their meditations this week. No, it means that you're getting a deeper insight into what this time is trying to teach you and where it can actually take you from here. This is about reassessing, or rather accepting your situation and reassessing your entire life. I've been talking about this kind of similar motif for about a week now, and probably more so, right? And if you get my daily email, then you'll be getting those messages as well. So it's really interesting to me that this is coming up in this way. So for the direction card, let's give it some context or flesh it out to see what else we might need to know, or what are the practical steps that we can take to make this a reality for us. Okay, and we get the High Priestess. Listen to your intuition. Trust your intuition. Trust your gut. Trust your hunches. I mean, look at this. You've got the Hanged Man there, which represents Neptune/Pisces. Then you've got the High Priestess, which is the goddess Luna, as I love to call her. And what does this say to you, right? As a direction card, the High Priestess basically talks about hidden things revealed. So she can represent secrets. She can represent, the watery landscape of our feelings, the changeable aspects and nature of the emotional body or the emotional self. And as a direction, this is asking you to get in touch with those parts of you that are hidden, and also maybe what are your hidden desires? What are the things that you have been afraid to speak up on or about now? This is the time for you to start speaking those. It's a time for you to, and this isn't like a speak your truth moment. This is about speaking the truth of who you are, the truth of what you believe you're here for, what actually what is it that you really have to share with the world. And in relation to the Hanged Man, what is it now that you can share that will bring some sort of enlightenment to the world? And I actually feel like on a wider world stage, so kind of like as a let's say like a mundane prediction, this actually tells me that this week there are going to be some things revealed. There might be this could be something to do with the spiritual world, or that maybe there's a big shift that takes place in that, and there's a lot of it happening right now, right? And I think that's because a lot of people in this time are saying, hang on a sec, you know what? Maybe there's more to all of this spiritual stuff, right? So that could be a really interesting thing to see. The other thing is as well, because it's the Hanged Man next to the High Priestess, your High Priestess can also represent veils, and this is one of the things that I find really, really interesting. For weeks, for those of you that have been on my channel long enough, you'll remember this. The High Priestess kept coming up. She was in basically every spread pretty much for about the period of 3 weeks, and what she represents on a really mundane sort of literal level is women or people that wear veils. And obviously think think at the moment everybody's wearing these masks, which is, you know, crazy, right? Because it's so literal. So there could be something that's coming to do with this, right? We could be seeing something more or something evolving out of that situation at this moment in time. Okay, so let's give it some insight. What is coming in, or what is taking place behind the scenes? Let's see, you know, if the High Priestess wants to... And the thing with the High Priestess, she'll never give her secrets easily. Whatever she does give, she gives when you are truly ready for it. And, you know, this is kind of one of those things. If you're really, truly ready to surrender, you know, the truth of who you are and what it is that you're here to do will reveal itself. Your insight card is the Five of Wands. Now, this is an interesting card because sometimes it can be a strifeful card. It does look like there's going to be some more of this kind of, you know, a lot of people are going to kind of want out, let's say. You know, I don't think, unless you're a Cancer moon like me, or you work from home so you're totally used to it, I don't think a lot of people are very good with being alone with their own thoughts, with being alone with their own self for extended periods of time. And I think this is a lot of what we're seeing right now. This Five of Wands is urging you to step outside of that, to look beyond it, to ask yourself, you know, what else is there, and what are the ways that I can connect to other people? What do my connections actually say about me? You know, and this is a big thing to ask. You know, when we're talking about your social circle, we're talking about your partner, we're talking about your children. What do all of these connections that you have say about you, and how do you define yourself through them? As an insight card, your Five of Wands is also about competition. This isn't a time to compete. It's a time to really unite, right? So this is about finding people to work with, finding people to collaborate with. I've been so fortunate this year, so fortunate. I've been collaborating my little tushy off. I did an amazing collaboration with Nico of Scarlet Moon, who I absolutely love, my over the pond brother, I call him. He's just a brilliant soul, super knowledgeable. If you haven't ever seen him, please go over to his channel and check him out. I've just done the collaboration with Kelly Rosano. I'm currently doing the one with Heather from Astrology with Heather. This is the time to find people of like mind, of like spirit, right? Of like intuition, like attract like, as they say. This is the time for you to find ways to enjoy yourself and ways to connect with people, even if you can't necessarily do it in person. Do I feel like this week we might see a bit more of the people rallying against the rules and the regulations that have been put in place? Yes, absolutely. And I say that unfortunately, you know, I don't ever hope for those kinds of things to happen, but I feel like we'll get a spike in that kind of anxiety this week. So you've got kind of two options in any situation, right? You can accept it and make the best out of it, or you can push and resist and rally against it. The choice really is yours, right? And we've currently got that Mars-Uranus square that's kind of acting out over the course of this whole week. What you do with that energy is completely up to you. The Five of Wands, as another one of a great astrologer says, use the energy or it will use you. So this is a time for you to be conscious. It's a time for you to be aware. What is it at the depths of you that is trying to bubble up? What are your dreams telling you? What do your feelings tell you? What do you feel is kind of, you know, how do you see things shaping up for you? This is a time to really find a way to navigate all of that and to push beyond where you are. Coming back to this sombrero message, that's like, just ignore. Coming back to this, it can be really easy to go into that place, right? And one of the things with the Hanged Man, that in its dysfunctional sense, it can represent somebody that's a martyr, and it's like, oh, you know, I feel so guilty for laughing, I feel so guilty for having a good time. Don't feel that. In fact, guilt is a wasted emotion, and it's actually quite a low level vibration, so don't go into that. If you are happy, if you have reasons to smile, live and revel them, because ultimately when you do, not only are you raising your own vibration and consciousness, but you're doing that, even if it's just a fraction, you're doing that for the world and everybody else as well. And the reason that is important is because if we kind of all collectively start going into this, well, it's so awful and the world is, you know, before you know it, We're all going to be in that place. This is not the time to sacrifice what makes you feel good or what makes you feel happy. It's also not a time to do the, I mean, there are healthy ways to escape, right? Getting plastered, doing loads of drugs, probably not. That's not going to benefit you at the moment. I mean, I say that, you eating too much or, maybe even doing too much exercise can be just as bad. I guess what I'm trying to say to you is find ways and be okay with being happy. Be okay with enjoying yourself. It's kind of one of those things, if you had really good news come to you over the end of the phone after you just left a funeral, obviously you wouldn't stand there laughing, at the place, but you would take time to go away and have that moment where you really welcome in whatever blessings are trying to find you. And I think that's really, really important right now. So make each other laugh. Those of you, if you're in isolation, make each other laugh, right? If you're talking to people over the airways, make each other laugh, connect with each other, see each other as way more than just another person or somebody outside yourself. It's time to pull together, right? Whatever that means to you. So I think I've gone on a ramble for long enough. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up for you, how you're feeling this energy, what it looks like to you. And yeah, let's open up a conflab. With that said, take care and I'll see you soon.